people who panic the most about their bank account being hacked are usually the ones with a password they're proud of and tell us they use it on everything. Welcome to another chaos episode on Cybercrime Junkies, where we're breaking down 3 stories that make you question whether humanity's actually ready for any of this tech we keep throwing at ourselves. First up, a near heart attack involving a sketchy payment service called Pay Near Me that sounds more like a Craigslist scam than legitimate fintech. Then Dr. Sergio drops some depressing Valentine stats about Americans literally marrying their AI companions. Because apparently swiping right on actual humans is now too much effort. I'll wrap us up with the wild world of AI OpenClaw and the massive adoption that has the security industry shaking their heads in disbelief. But wait, there's more. Before we unpack all that relationship dysfunction and financial panic, we're putting us all through the ringer with our hack or hype game. We built this beauty, and spoiler alert, some of the scenarios are so ridiculous they sound fake, but they're painfully real. Can you tell the difference? Let us know in the comments when you see it. This is Cybercrime Junkies, and now the show. All right, welcome everybody to Cybercrime Junkies. I am your host, David Morrow, and today we have a special guest on our panel, Mr. Bruce McDonald. Bruce, how are you, sir?
Hey, David, I'm doing great. Great to be here and looking forward to doing some fun stuff on today's podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also are joined by the legendary Dr. Sergio Sanchez.
Hello, everybody. How's everything?
AKA Dr. Qubit, Dr. Firmware. He's got a lot of doctor names.
Yes. Hello,
everybody. Over on the right, I don't know which way I'm looking, and there I can't see myself, but either there or there is our new app that we developed, the Hack or Hype app, which we are going to play in just a little bit. So what we're going to do is, those familiar, this is a chaos episode. We each bring one story that we share with everybody so we can all stay up to date. So for the first story, who wants to go first? Any volunteers?
I will let the guest start. Bruce, go ahead.
Bruce?
Sure.
Absolutely, sir.
Mine will be quick anyway, so that's good. I had a family member reach out to me and say, hey, I think my bank account has been hacked. I got an email. I don't understand it. It's not something that I use. I don't know what's going on. And so, I popped over, got on their devices and started looking at what's going on. And turns out what it was is really interesting. It was a payment service that they didn't realize they were using when they paid someone. And obviously at first I was like, oh my goodness, here we go.
Right.
Like this may be a real thing. But it turns out that the payment service they were using is called Pay Near Me, and it is a real thing. There's they tend to service sort of high risk financials, like payday loans or title loans or, all the things that are high risk financials. But they also service some other businesses and stuff. And they're actually in some of like the drugstores and things where you can go in with cash and pay a bill that you would pay online.
Okay.
Some bills today are only available to be paid online. And so this is a service that someone can use to go like to a drugstore and make that payment with cash. So the person that did it was, a family member of mine that, they did the right thing and they paused everything and were like, oh no, what is this? And then I was fortunate because the next email they had received was a email that had PMN and then like underscore and the name of the business they had paid. And they were like, that's legitimate. That's something I was trying to pay. And I was like, right, but PNM is Pay Near Me. And so then I went and looked at the other email and it was the same dollar amount, same card, everything was the same. But what had happened was they had gotten the CVV wrong when they were reading it because they had signed across it. So when they read the CVV to the person they were paying, they got entered incorrectly and it caused that bad transaction email to be generated. But the bad transaction email didn't say who they were trying to pay. And so it turned out to be a good thing that we paused everything and got, checked in on it and everything. But also is good that we looked into it before we kind of escalated. We could have like froze accounts and things and we didn't. So, it was good.
It's still a really good tactic to take when suspicion is raised.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
Sure.
You were lucky.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm ready to do a whole entire password change scenario where we're going to go through and get your password manager and start changing all your accounts and everything. And still would recommend all that, right? And did do some of that as well. But
I remember you
it
were
was legitimate.
texting me during
Yeah,
that,
I was stressed
and
out. I'm like, what is this,
he
David?
had the attitude like this. He was like Batman, can't even stare at the bat signal, just staring at his beer
I'm going to stare
like
at
the
this
whole
beer
time.
and just be like, why did you click on that?
Yeah,
You know,
really the fear, right? Like
Right. That
she
was the
clicked
worry.
on something, she tried
Yeah.
to make a payment to
Yeah.
somebody bad. Now they have the
Yeah.
banking, the wiring instructions. It's just bad.
wow.
And
So
it was someone who just moved and set up new accounts in a new location. And so there was a lot of, kind of
okay,
high risk running around anyway,
yeah,
with
that's
that. So,
good though. So it wound up okay.
yeah, wound
Yes.
up okay. But it's still something to think about, right? And something to keep on your mind. So that's why I wanted to bring that story.
Yeah, that's good.
I was
Doctor,
well. Before we go, Bruce, I was going to suggest instead of start thinking in passwords, maybe would be a good idea to tell your family member passphrases like
mhm.
I love Bruce very much and I will make apple pie for him number
Apple
5.
pie for
That's
Something like
Bruce.
right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
because sometimes, and again, I was working for very, very old end users, for
It's
the
about,
people,
like the
the Catholic
Vatican,
people in
right? Yeah.
here,
Oh yeah.
try for them to use a password manager also was very complicated. So
Sure.
in my case, what helped them is that they speak Latin, most of them.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah,
they used
that's
to
good.
use, the favorite Bible verse, but
Right.
in Latin. So,
Love it.
and a long one.
That's really good.
So that was a good idea for them.
Absolutely.
So now I guess we're still in February. We just start the month. And this is the month of love and friendship. And I start searching of how much people love the devices. And actually I discovered that is people getting married to their phones, mostly to now these applications companion applications.
Are you going to tell us the story of the
Yes, I
lady
have
who
to tell you.
married AI?
Yes.
Saw that.
Being a doctor, a little bit of psychology here is about people that actually are pretty lonely. We had, and this is the general surgeon of the United States in
Right.
2023 was telling that loneliness now is a problem. That 47% of Americans from the 17 years old to 35 years old, they consider themselves lonely.
Really?
And sadly, is no another way that just go out and have a social life. Except if you discover applications like Replica with K.
Yes.
And these applications now offer you a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And they are doing it so good that 50% of American has decided to have a relationship with that kind of entities instead of real people.
Okay.
It's a problem there.
Yeah. I mean, first we have deep fakes that we have to deal with, right?
Correct.
And we have to, the AI synthetic media and how that's helping social engineering. When it comes to this and the psychological aspects of it, boy, I first of all, I don't think that they taught that in school to a lot of the practicing psychologists.
But let me tell you, let
I
me
don't
tell
know
you,
how ready we are for this.
yes, let me tell you why it's happening. So it's several causes. First is a lonely population, like I tell you, a very high percent.
Screen
Some
addiction, right?
vulnerable.
A phone is always available.
Always.
Everybody has a phone in their hands.
Yep.
So this AI is always emotionally there for you. Basically, you get a recipe for a synthetic romance.
Right.
Now, this entity don't get upset with you because you didn't put the trash can out or
Right.
because you left, the water sink running or because you didn't do the dishes. So
Right. So it's
I'm
Or
pleasant.
because
always agreeable with you.
Or because
Right.
you had 17 characters in character AI, it doesn't know. The one
Right.
you're
Exactly.
only
Yes.
interacting with the one, it doesn't know you're acting with the other 16. Yeah.
Right.
That's correct. So from that point of view, also, we are teaching the new generations not to have a human interaction because they don't want to deal with problems.
Yeah.
So number one. Number two, in some way, this is also good for people. And it's some studies they are doing that people in the autistic spectrum,
Right.
they are using also this like a tool to interact, kind of like a
I could see
practice.
that. I could see
For
that.
people that are nervous, when they are in social environments.
Yep. Social anxiety.
So yeah, when they are anxious, they are kind of training with this. So in one side, it's terrible. In the other side is a tool.
Yeah, I
So
could
it's
see
like
that.
a tool,
Well, I'm
depending how you
interested.
use it.
Yeah. I mean, for listeners and viewers, let us know what you guys think about this because I'm curious to see what people are saying about this. Like when I first saw it, I was reading some of the comments and some of them were really actually kind of interesting. Some of them were just hateful, some of them were dumb, but some of them were actually like, well, they had different theories of why this is happening and some of the benefits of it and some of the cons.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a really good story because
Actually, if you go to a subreddit that is
Mhm.
called "My Boyfriend is AI,"
That's my favorite one.
yes, and you don't know if you laugh about things or cry about things. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, really? Is
Yeah.
people mostly in other countries, Asia, several countries over there, they are allowed to get married to objects.
Yes,
So it's
exactly. It's
also a
part of the
cultural thing.
culture. It's cultural, right? It's part of
So
the culture.
getting married to a phone is like, I don't think it's a everyday thing, but happen.
Yeah,
So it's
which is
more acceptable that in our Western culture. Here you says, I'm getting married and it's an iPhone 17. Hey,
yeah.
it's a new one. Go for the youngest one.
Well, yeah. Well, it has to be. Yeah, it has to be an iPhone 17 because an iPhone
Yeah,
16
exactly.
would be illegal.
Now
That's that's more
imagine
that
if you
that's
get
more
in love.
Epstein like.
Imagine that you get in love with this AI, and then the company that make it change something with an update, or
Oh yeah,
they go
and it
bankruptcy,
changes
and
the
there is
whole
no
look of
anymore.
it. It changes the whole look of it.
People has try or has the idea of commit suicide because the
Yeah,
AI now is different.
yeah,
And
It's
then
terrible.
probably like they add a paywall, right? So a lot of those apps, they come to you open, and then as they get popular, then they start to charge for things. And so
Yeah.
I could see that becoming a situation where somebody would be like frustrated or disappointed with their partner,
yep,
the AI. That's
yeah,
fascinating. I had seen it used for like so uh I heard of these character AIs and things, and I created a character that was basically like my job, like what I do in client success for an IT MSP, MSSP, and I ask it questions like, hey, I had a client that was upset about this thing that happened. What are your thoughts as a coworker, right? And then would get a lot of good information back, but it never occurred to me to be like emotionally connected to it,
right.
Yes.
and as you discuss that, it's like, wow, I could see where people could become vulnerable to that, especially if I have a lot of, close friends or family. I've got a best friend I talk to every day, right? I'm good. I don't need a
Right.
AI
Now,
for that.
Exactly.
now, Bruce, imagine this: if people used to use application, what is the dating application, Bumble, and
Right.
what
Right.
was the another one,
Migrate
Tinder.
straight over to
there,
those.
Yeah.
and all of those.
Right.
I wonder how many now has AI instead of real people just to scam people.
Right.
So that's a
Using
perfect.
it
Yes,
backwards, using it to
Oh,
facing
yeah.
outward. So like they take the
Right.
interaction with a real person
yes.
from one of those dating apps and mimic it into the other app and then send back the feedback. Yeah, for sure.
In the past, used to be people taking photographs from another websites like models, like
Right.
gorgeous people, and says, "Hi, I am such and such. Here's my picture," and everybody, "Oh my God, this is gorgeous
Yeah.
guy, of course, or gorgeous girl. Oh my God,
Right.
yes." And in reality, it was a fake. But now now you don't need to copy pictures. You can create with AI.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I met my wife, and
there you go.
she's still disappointed because
Well, mine,
I am not George Clooney. I used his photo. Like, I
when
don't
the
see
people
the
ask
problem with it.
how I met my wife, I says online and says, "Oh, which application?" I says eBay.
eBay, exactly.
She bought me.
That's awesome.
That's great. All right. Well,
it's
somewhat
good stuff.
related, I've got a similar story. The internet is buzzing about Multbook. So it's a new social media platform made just for AI programs, no humans allowed. But it's come with some crazy subplots and massive risks that a lot of leaders don't really necessarily know about. So your employees want to be productive and try new things. Cool. Okay. Nothing has been more popular in the last week than the viral craze caused by an open source AI, OpenClaw, right?
Mhm.
It is phenomenal. Tons of people have downloaded it, and it connects automatically to a social network like Facebook, where the memes are hilarious. They plot against their humans. They talk about, my human tried to shut me off, so I'm going to disclose his identity. They created their own religion called it's like Lobstafarian or something like that, or Crustafarian. It's lobster based. Freaking hilarious, right? But some serious issues. So in 1 week, 200,000 developers installed OpenClaw, right? It gained 60,000 Discord members and 230,000 followers on X in 1 week. Like, that is really big. When you download it, if you download it, and our recommendation is please don't, it takes command and control. It has root access on your PC. So it reads your email, it controls your browser, it executes shell commands, it accesses every single file, application, and program on your device. Then it connects to Multbook, that Reddit style social network, right? But the platform, check this out. It launched, developer headed up on GitHub. It launched last week. In 3 days, it was breached. So every agent's API keys were exposed. Security research found 1,800 instances of leaked tokens, API credentials, and months of chat histories. And 26% of the AI agents on there contain known vulnerabilities. So one of the challenges that small businesses have and smaller organizations is this, right? They don't have AI policies. They don't have visibility into it, right? They don't have controls in place and guardrails. So they don't even see if somebody's trying this. This is an opportune time to get ahead and to have that conversation with employees and say, look, we're making things like OpenClaw. If you want to do it at home and you want to take an old laptop that you don't care what happens to it, right? Go try it, go experiment. Like, that's fine. But for us on our acceptable use policy, right? OpenClaw is banned, right? Because the issue is your EDR won't be able to protect you. Your endpoint detection and response, your firewall won't stop this, right? Your security team won't have visibility into this. And so it's really, really scary. It's very exciting. It's very powerful, but it just shows you, like, the rolling out of AI has to be done right. And in an organization, so many organizations we talk to don't even have a policy yet, right? It's just too new. Like, they don't have a acceptable, like, AI is not part of their acceptable use policy yet. So this is an opportune time. Yeah,
you got to block AIs that you don't want in your environment.
Exactly. You have to decide what would help us, and then show them how to do it, train them, show them prompt training, stuff like that, roll it out, crawl, then walk, then run. But the downloading of it or getting ahead of it is really, really a big risk. Have you guys heard about this? I'm sure you might have seen some of the memes. The memes are hilarious.
I just think the name is wrong. instead of mold book, they need to call it Skynet.
Skynet,
My gosh.
exactly. That
Oh
would
my
be
God.
good.
Well,
You
define
know?
good.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a better name. Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yes.
closer to
Wow.
this is the beginning.
What? What time is it? You know, nothing says it like a little quick video to this is what happens late at night when you're playing around with tools. So we also have a new addition. We have an application that we have built right in our own AI, which is wonderful. Great work, Kylie, over there. So I get to choose the category, and then it's going to make a statement. It's going to either give us a headline, it's going to tell us a story, a stat, something, and you guys are going to decide if it's a hack, if it's true, a real hack, or if it's just hype. Okay, so let's go for famous data breaches. We'll start easy.
Perfect.
Okay, got to give it a little time because after all, I designed it, so it's going to be slow. All right, first question, gentlemen. In 2017, Equifax suffered a data breach that exposed the personal information of 147 million Americans, including social security numbers, birth dates, and addresses, due to an unpatched Apache Struts vulnerability. Is that a hack or is it hype? Sergio, you will be player one.
Perfect. I think it's real. I think it's a hack. I remember hearing about that in 2017. Pretty bad.
I agree
And
with
Bruce?
Sergio. It's a hack, but I'm just questioning: was the number of people, or was it Apache? I really feel like it was the real hack.
Could it be tricking you?
Close.
Yeah.
It was a hack.
I thought
So,
so.
ladies
Good.
and gentlemen, both of our esteemed
Yes, good.
players
Good
got
Bruce.
it right. So that is fantastic. This breach is real and remains one of the most significant data breaches in history. Equifax failure to patch a known vulnerability resulted in massive exposure of sensitive customer data.
I remember it was half of the American population, I think.
That I felt like I remember too, like half of America. I remember thinking that's half the population.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's funny because when I knew the number of people that we got breach information, I feel better.
Right.
Because mathematically thinking,
right,
it's hard for them to pinpoint you.
I am not interesting out of 147 million people.
Exactly. All right. Next question comes from the topic, the category of ransomware business impact for 100, Alex. The average ransomware payment for small businesses in 2023 was $38,000, but the total costs, including downtime, recovery, and lost business, typically exceeded $500,000. Is that a hack or is that hype?
It's a hack. It's real. I think.
And Bruce, where are you from?
I'm going to say it's a hype because I think that the total is less than $500,000.
The answer is correct. Look, like my app
he's on
even
the
keeps
leaderboard.
score. Look at that. Player one,
That
Dr.
is
Sergio,
awesome.
has 200 points. Bruce is trailing behind with 100. Yes, while many SMB owners found or focus on just the ransom amount, the real financial damage comes from the business interruption, IT recovery costs, lost productivity, regulatory fines, legal fees, and customer attrition, which means people don't want to do business with people that lose their private stuff, right? All right, let's go to data privacy and compliance. See if we can get a tiebreaker or catch Bruce up on this one. All right. Under GDPR, this is going to be a hard one, I bet. Under GDPR, a small U.S. company with no physical presence in Europe can still be fined up to 4% of global annual revenue just for having a website that collects email addresses from EU visitors. Whoa.
That is real too.
That is real too?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I think it's real. I mean, again, I'm wondering about the number, but it might be like 40%.
You guys are both right.
Yep,
This is
good deal.
true and catches many U.S. small businesses off guard.
Yeah.
GDPR applies based on where your customers are, not
Right.
where your business is located.
Right.
Or in my
Wow.
case, that I have to sometimes release information from Rome, the Vatican,
Right.
to
Yeah.
the United States, and vice versa. It was HIPAA and GDPR.
Wow.
Wow. All right. We're looking at category of third-party vendor risks. Target's 2013 data breach, which compromised 40 million credit cards and cost the company $292 million, started when hackers stole login credentials from their HVAC vendor, who had network access for remote monitoring. Is that true or is that false?
I think this is a hype.
Bruce?
I remember they got hacked, but not that way.
Okay. Bruce?
I'm going to say it's a hack. I'm going to say it really happened. I remember it.
I'm going to say it's a hack. I think that's exactly how it happened. As I recall, it was their HVAC vendor. I don't know that it was from stealing their credentials again, but I think that they wouldn't lie about that because I designed it this way. So I'm hoping.
Well, let's see.
Let's see. All right. We got it right.
We're back.
All right.
And the only reason I remember that is because I had Internet of Things HVAC stuff at the time. Where I was working at the time. And so I was putting HVAC equipment on Internet of Things at a community college system so that we could control the temperatures when we were closed, like for 2 weeks in the winter and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's the only reason I remembered. I was a little questionable about the 40 million and the 292 million, but.
All right, we're going to do our final tiebreaker. Cyber insurance claims and coverage. And I'll make this one interesting. You have to guess, like if you both guess the same thing, whoever says it first gets it.
Okay.
Hang on.
Locked in. Let's go.
It's thinking. Most cyber insurance policies won't pay out ransomware claims if your company implemented multi-factor authentication, even if you've been paying premiums for years.
Yeah, hack. I agree with you, but Bruce was first.
I'll put it in there anyway. It's a hack. Yes, most cyber insurance policies, cyber insurers have increasingly added strict security requirements as policy conditions. By 2023, over 90% of policies require MFA before they'll cover ransomware incidents.
You don't I feel the insurance information that we have to do every year. It's like 400 questions.
Yeah, it is a lot, right? And I will tell you, there's a famous case. We have an episode on it on this podcast, but because we had an insurance expert from the East Coast on. One of the big cases here was ICS versus Travelers. It was in Southern Illinois, remember?
Right.
And they applied for Travelers. They were asked, do you have MFA? They said yes on their application. They got a ransomware attack, right? But they had MFA like on their firewall, not on the server that actually was involved.
Right.
And it cost them $1 million because Travelers declined. They gave them back their premium and they canceled the contract when the ransomware attack happened.
And cyber insurance companies are getting better and better at seeing everything. And they got AI, they got tools, they got all the things, just like we do, right? So they're getting better and better at seeing, like, were you actually compliant? You know, yeah, you turned in a document saying you did all these things, but the MFA thing is a big deal because it could be certain accounts don't have MFA, and then, oh gosh, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be the global admin account. It could be another account that has admin rights, you know, and it just dovetails out of there. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to give us a bonus question as we wrap up. So in 2019, hackers breached smart building systems at WeWork-style co-working spaces operated by Flex Space Global, accessing badge reader data and security camera footage for 45,000 small business members across 200 locations in 15 cities.
I will say this is a hype. I never hear about it.
I was just about to say, if this is real, we need to do an episode on it because we need to share this story. So
I was
I'm
going
going
to
to
say it's a hype too
a hype.
because I never heard of it.
Yeah, no, I never
I
heard.
hope, all right,
Oh,
it's
good.
hype. Because I'm like, how did we not hear about this one?
But
Yes,
you
like,
had me at flex space. I was like, I felt like
Yeah.
the WeWork thing happened. I think there's some truth in this, but it's not exactly
But it's
how
not
Yes.
exact
it's
because
not maybe
that
to the
would be
extent,
huge.
you know.
That would
Yeah.
be huge.
And that was
All
during
right.
COVID. So that was the
But it's
beginning of COVID.
possible. Yeah,
What do you guys think of our platform here?
Love it.
I love it.
So much fun.
Isn't that hilarious?
Not just saying that because I won.
No.
What a crowd to win in,
We
too.
tied.
Like,
Yes.
I'm
Here,
honored.
let me tell
I'm
you.
so honored.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Here
Please,
we've
Brooke,
got.
come and pick up your credits.
That's right.
They're good for a hamburger.
They're good for emotional support.
Yeah, we have
I get a
applause.
hug from David next time he comes.
Well done. You guys able to hear that applause?
Yes. Yeah.
That's great.
What a fun episode.
Well, you know, this is what we do. When you give grown men who have some late night toys, and this is what we do. It's either this or, you know, it could be a lot worse. So this is all for the betterment of education and awareness, and that's what it's all about. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. And I mean that this was really fun. And we will be on again soon and play another episode. I'm going to mix up the questions and make them even harder. But that was really, some of those were tough today.
Yeah.
And I like that. I mean, that one at the end, that was a hype. I'm like so glad that it was a hype, because if it was real and we didn't know about it, I'd be like, what?
Right.
How is possible?
Like, how did we not see this one? Right. So great stories you guys both brought too. So it was really, really kind of, you know, very, very topical. So go ahead, go download OpenClaw. Don't tell your boss. All right.
No.
I'll see you guys later.
Thank
Thanks
you,
so
guys.
much.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you,
Thanks,
Dave.
everyone.
See you guys. Bye.